Hello again, folks. Hope you're doing well. So this is going to be the first of these distance learning type lessons for pre-calculus. And the next thing we have kind of on the schedule that we were going to start doing after spring break was talking about this thing called the law of sines. Now, there's two different ones. There's law of sines, law of cosines. We'll do one for law of cosines later on this week. But basically what these enable us to do is to solve any triangle for missing sides or angles, okay? We no longer have to have a right triangle, because before, when you did the SOHCAHTOA thing, there had to be a 90-degree angle, and then we did the opposite adjacent hypotenuse, all stuff like that. Now with the law of sines, we don't need that. We can have any triangle at all. So what does the law of sines look like? Well, it looks like this. This is the formula for it, or the equation. And you say it's just a set of fractions, it's just a set of ratios. Don't get freaked out by like the double equal sign there, because these are really quite easy to work with. But a couple things you definitely need to know before you start working with this. Now, the one thing I'll say too before I get going in this is I'm not going to prove where the law of sines comes from. I will post a link to a PDF, and I'll put it on Classroom also, showing you the proof of this if you're so inclined. But we're just going to kind of move on and take this for a bit. Okay. So a couple of things as you get into doing this. Make sure you realize that the uppercase letters, the capital letters, are always going to be your angle measurements. The lowercase letters are always going to be the length of sides. It's pretty self-explanatory. But the big one is notice that the sides are always opposite of the corresponding angle. What does that mean? Now, you've got a picture here to some random triangle with the angles labeled at ABC. That means if your A is here, your side A is going to be opposite that side. And that's always going to be the case. Okay, so if your angle B is here, side B. If your angle C is up here, get your side C down here. Okay. So always keep that in mind. If you're not given a triangle on the problem, you're drawing your own, make sure that you're labeling the angle and the side opposite from each other all the time, okay? So when you use law of sines, well, there's really two cases. The second case we won't get into until next week, but the main time you're going to use the law of sines is when you're given any two angles and any one side. If you remember back in your geometry days, you called that like an angle side angle or angle side case. So that's when you're going to be using this thing. So what do? If you're not given a triangle, you should definitely draw the triangle on your paper and label the sides and angles you have, and so you know what you're looking for. Even if you're given a triangle, we're going to do an example here in just 1 minute. You should have a piece of paper that you can kind of follow along the example as I do it. So if you need to pause the video real quick right now, grab your paper and pencil, I encourage you to do that. Once you have the triangle drawn or labeled on your paper, the first thing we're going to do, since we're given two angles, we can find the third angle just with a simple subtraction. Okay, and I think you guys all know how to do that, and we'll do that on the example. Once you have all three angles, you're gonna have one complete angle side pair. Okay, it's gonna make more sense when you see an example and start doing these things on your own. But you definitely want to know which pair you have. Once you know the pair, then we're just gonna set up two different proportions, almost like back when you were in middle school and doing like the cross multiply divide thing. We're gonna set up two proportions, one for each of the missing sides, and then we're just gonna solve it. We will need a calculator for this, so whether you have a calculator on your own or whether you're going to use Desmos or what have you, the angle measurements are going to be in degrees. So make sure that your calculator is set up in degrees or Desmos or what have you. Okay, I'll talk more about that in a few minutes also. So let's go ahead and do a first example here. So I'm going to give you just a second to draw that triangle on your paper. And notice I got everything labeled A, B, and C with the angles. And I want you to think for just a second, what side would this be? This 15, would that be side A, B, or C? hopefully you said that you saw that it was opposite from side B. I'm sorry, from angle B. So 15 is going to be the side B. Okay. So what I like doing is I like writing down exactly what it is I'm getting. So I know angle A, angle C, and side B. And what's unknown? Well, everything else. So the angle B and then side A is just like I said on the steps a few slides ago. So if you go backwards real quick. First step, draw and label the triangle, which I've done, and hopefully you did too. Find the measure of the third angle, and then we'll start looking at the two sides. So how do we find angle B? You're going to take the two angles, the 24 and 107, add those together and subtract it from 180. You do that little math, and you should get 49 degrees as your angle B. Okay, so once you have that, that's easy enough. But now at this point right here, guys, take a look and see what pair do you know everything about? Well, if you look, I've got side B and I have angle B. So that's the pair that I'm going to use to set up my proportions. Okay. So in this case, the way the law of sine is written, that's going to be my middle fraction. But again, I'm going to break this up into two pieces. Okay. We'll break it up into two pieces. I know everything about B, so I'm going to find side A for one proportion, and then I'm going to write the same one for the pair that I know, and then I'm going to write the other fraction for side C. So it looks something like this. So here is my proportion to find side A. Okay, notice I got sine 24 over A, and then sine 49 over 15. And then my other proportion is going to be to find side C. Notice the pair that I know stays the same. I'm not changing anything in that fraction, that B fraction of the word. Now I'm just going to set the C fraction so I can find side C. Okay. Now when you solve this, again, you know how to do this. You've been doing cross multiplying, dividing since you're in middle school. So I'm going to get rid of my triangle up here just so I can have some room to show you what's happening. But from here, I'm going to set up just my first one. So I'm going to find side A using that proportion. I drew some ovals in here to kind of show you what's happening. But you're going to cross multiply and divide. So I'm going to do A times sine 49 and set that equal to 15 times sine 24. And you see that right there. Now I still have to find A, right? So I'll give you a second. How would I get A by itself? And I think hopefully you guys are all set in your head. You have to divide by the sine 49. So my A is going to end up looking like this. A equals 15 sine 24 degrees divided by sine 49 degrees. You put that in your calculator, and you should get about 8.08. Now I am going to go and show you what that looks like on Desmos. So if you're on Desmos, you can bring up the keypad here. If you hit the divide key, that'll make a fraction for you. And I'm going to double check my numbers, 15 sine 24. So we can put up here 15. You can go to your functions, put in sine 24, and then go down to the bottom, divided by sine 49. Now the one thing you want to make sure of is over here on the wrench, make sure you're sitting here and you see, notice here I'm in radians. I don't want radians because my angles are in degrees. So you hit degrees and it's going to give you that answer that we have there. Okay. So that's where I got that side of equal to 8.08. Okay, so I'm going to pop that up here in my unknowns, and now I know it. And now I'm going to do the same exact thing for the other proportion that I had set up to find side C. So there's my side C proportion. Again, my B pair stayed the same. I have this. Do the cross multiply divide the same way we did a second ago. Got the C sine 49, 15 sine 107. Divided by sine 49. And again, you can go back to Desmos. I'm not going to go back to that screen again. But you pop that into the calculator and you should get 19.01. And that's it. Okay. So we have what we have given. We draw the triangle. We find the third angle right off the bat. Then we set up our two proportions. And then we just do cross multiply divide to find the two proportions, pop them in the calculator, use the degrees, make sure your calculator is set up correctly, and you're done. Okay, so at this time, what I want you to do, I want you to write this information down, pause the video, and I have the law of sines written there for you at the bottom of the screen. Pause the video and see if you can do this on your own, okay? I'm gonna let it go for about 10 seconds, then I'm gonna go on through the solution fairly quickly. Okay, so try to do this on your own. I'll give you a few seconds to pause the video and work it out. And if you're waiting for me to give you the answers and you haven't worked it out yet, no, seriously, pause the video and work it out. There's your last chance to do that. You will have to do this on your own. I'm going to be posting an assignment later on today with some of these same kind of questions. So make sure you're looking through and know how to do it on your own. Okay, so hopefully you've done this already and worked it all out. Now we can check our answers. So first thing I did, again, find angle C, add up the two angles, 28 and 39, you get 67. Subtract that from 180, you get 113, so that's your angle A. But in this case, notice, now I know my A pair. Okay, so I'm going to use the A pair, the 28 degrees and 4, in both proportions to set up to find my side B and my side C with those two values that I have for those guys. Okay, and again, cross multiply and divide for the B side, and you should get 5.36. And then doing the same exact thing for the C pair, for the C proportion, cross multiply divide, and you should get 7.84. Okay, so that is how you do the law of sines. I strongly encourage you to, if you need to go back through the video and look through those two examples again, please do that. I'm also going to put some links down in the description of this video. I'm going to put a link to a Khan Academy video where they kind of work through a different examples with some different numbers. I'm also going to put a link down there where you can make up your own triangle. Pick two angles, anything you want to be for two angles, and pick one random side, draw it out, label it, solve it on your own. I'm going to put a link in the description where you can put those angles and sides that you make up on your own, and it'll tell you what the answer is. Okay, don't get used to that because you're going to have to show work when it comes time for submitting the assignment. But I want you to really try to do a couple of these things on your own and figure out kind of the process before going into before starting the assignment. Okay. So as always, feel free to drop me an email or catch me on Google Hangouts anytime between 8:30 and 4:30 for all intents and purposes, Monday through Friday. You can put a comment on the video, you can put a comment on the classroom, what have you. Okay, so hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to share it around. If you have anybody else in pre-calculus at a different school that maybe need some help with it, I'd love to be able to help them out too. Until next time, keep studying.